Hello, and we're back, everyone, with another episode of the USA Volleyball Show. I think it's time to take a poll of a new entryway. Wow, I'm thinking of entrance units for adult nationals. Of a new introduction that I or heck anyone can do. So yeah, polls are open. Vote now.
I feel like this could be like a talent show type thing. Like send in your videos.
Send your video work. Oh my god.
The USAB show at usab.org.
Speaking of that, can we just talk about how I am in a viral Instagram
what
video, and it's just.
But that's chat.
It's a very poorly saying national anthem. I'll let you guys catch up while I put this in the chat.
I'm excited to see this. Was this at a karaoke night or?
No, this was at Sunshine Classic.
Oh, you did it at Sunshine. Did you see this, Sevrin?
I think I completely missed this.
Which I didn't sing. I'm just in the background with my head down because I have secondhand embarrassment. But that's it. The rest is just yeah. All right, yeah. I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Happy. What day is it, you guys?
Who knows? I don't think anybody knows. There's no way to find out.
I do know it's my 5-year work anniversary. I just spoke about that.
Happy anniversary!
Congrats! You're gonna
Congratulations!
Hey, brother, who's this new host you guys got here?
Free off screen right there. I love it. Well, speaking of new things, you guys like my background? I changed my setup a little bit.
I noticed that.
Yeah. I used to be on that back wall, and there's a window on this wall, so I thought maybe it would like light me better. So
about that lighting.
Yeah,
Viewers,
let me know.
Shelf.
Got the shelf behind me, Star Wars, got my Pokemon, got my Harry Potter.
I'm about to get a standing desk, and I think I want to I don't know. I don't really have a lot of room in my apartment to change a lot of table space around, but I'm gonna look at see what my options are.
Hey, Kilbert, we're gonna do a USAB show home makeover edition.
Interior design.
Yeah, thinking about getting some plants or something. Maybe hang some stuff up back there. I'm notoriously really bad at keeping plants alive, though. I really think
plant killer. Cool.
I really think taking care of a baby is way easier than taking care of plants. I'll say it right now. None of you guys are parents. Viewers, put in the comments if you agree.
That is not the other way around because I'd be taller.
We need Curtis here.
What's going on? Oh my god. Anyways, where do we go from here?
Well, I can't wait to see that video, Clarence. But
just
Sevrin. Oh, you did. Awesome. Yeah, Sevrin. What's new with you?
Not much, guys. Just getting ready we got the beach season really getting going in full swing, and some college volleyball we're going to talk about on the men's side. So I've been kind of very volleyball focused recently. I know we've got the NCAA basketball tournament coming up, but really, honestly, it's been pretty volleyball focused for me over here.
Yeah, so just submitted my brackets for the multiple challenges that I'm in, and they're all going to win. That's the beauty of my brackets.
You talking March Madness?
Oh yeah, March Madness. They're not going to win. I don't even know. I think this is probably the year I've been following college basketball the least. So it'd be very funny if I do win. Anyways, that getting ready to travel to where am I going? Northern Lights. Where's Minneapolis? Yeah, I'll be in Minneapolis coaching the whole scenes.
Your entire reaction to where am I going has been my entire reaction to my calendar as well. It's like there's a flight coming up somewhere. Where is it?
There's something. I checked in somewhere. Southwest has gotten rid of the 2 free bag policy. Everyone is in the uproar. I'm just kidding.
I want to talk about that. That one upset me.
Let's talk about it. I'm 5 in A-list, so I luckily get 1 bag. But dang, guys,
if anyone's affiliated with Southwest, I've been a loyal customer specifically for that reason. I'm very upset. I've
been a same.
I mean, when we go to these tournaments, I got the camera, the tripod. I get those 2 free bags. I'm like, this is great. I can stuff my clothes in the carry-on. Don't pay for a bag. I'm saving money for the company or myself, depending on if it's a personal or a flight for work. And Southwest, what are you doing?
Hashtag company man.
I feel like, did you guys see the Instagram they sent out where they're like, it's not like we traded Luca. You guys are gaslighting us.
Disrespectful.
That was ridiculous.
I mean, first of all, it's so disrespectful to Dallas. Aren't they headquartered in Dallas at that?
Yes.
Oh, you tell me.
Yeah, they are.
Sorry, Steven. Just 0 for 2 here.
Dallas just catching L's. Yeah.
Dallas
right.
just catching L's straight.
Now we're in danger of forfeiting the season. The Mavericks are because they don't have enough
players. The G League team.
Waiting to get my call to suit up, but
yeah. I'd buy a suit.
Wait, what was the Will Ferrell basketball movie? Semi-Pro, right? Is that
Semi-Pro? Yeah.
What was that guy's name? His last name was Munson, the Munson guy.
Oh my God, Ziggy.
I feel like we've had this conversation on the podcast before.
I feel like it's Iggy or Ziggy Munson, whatever it is.
We'll have to find that out.
Break the jersey. Yeah. Oh my God, if you play at Opens, just a whole jersey full of semi-pro teams, semi-pro jerseys. It'd be great.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Well, enough catching up.
What are we even talking about?
I'm gonna have to watch your viral video off screen, Clarence. But before we get into today's episode, last episode, we talked all things USA Volleyball regions, which we continue in today's episode. But episode 116 featured Great Lakes Region CEO and Commissioner Dan Ames. We learned about Dan's background in sport, including how he got into his current role with the Great Lakes region. He also shares the work he and his region have done to help grow the sport and what successes he has seen in doing so. Don't miss it. Listen or watch now on all podcast platforms, YouTube, and usavolleyball.org. Sevrin, take it away with the men's college roundup.
Yeah, let's do it. As I mentioned, this is not just the prime time for NCAA basketball. It is still prime time for NCAA men's college volleyball, as one of my 7 alarms goes off here. But to keep going, it's just...
Is it our plate?
I know. Honestly, once again, it's like, I've got an alarm set for something. What is it possibly for? It's almost as like when the lights used to go off in that one episode that we did too, when I had the motion ones. But not going to distract me from telling you about the current state of men's college volleyball. We're hitting like a really cool point in the season where you're hitting some of these really important matchups. And as a result, it has changed our top 5 for this week. So Long Beach is still your number 1. UCLA is still your number 2. But then it gets interesting. USC has leapfrogged 2 positions. They are now up to number 3. And they defeated Hawaii in the Outrigger Invitational final match over the past weekend from time of recording. So Hawaii down to number 4, and UCI has dropped down to number 5. So a whole bunch of shifting. However, those are still your top teams. Hawaii is off this week. They are next at home against UCSD on the 28th. They're going to be looking to bounce back from that loss to USC, which is really just a great match. And as we move into our storylines, that's the one I want to talk about more, guys. USC downing Hawaii at Outrigger. Things got kind of chippy at the end if you were watching, but it was just an incredible match, even for a 3-1 final score in terms of the sets. It was pretty close if you're looking at the stats. And one of my favorite things, aside from the stats, was just looking at the battle between Tetrisky and Dylan Klein of USC. Tetrisky for Hawaii, and they went back and forth. Klein came out on top, obviously, with USC. He tallied 21 kills, hitting 588. Versus Hawaii in that final match, and earned AVCA Player of the Week honors this week. USC's for real. I mean, that was such an incredible match. As we know, playing in Hawaii is super, super tough. And, that Outrigger Invitational is really always one that people have circled on the calendar. And I think that was a toss-up going in. I was, frankly, personally surprised because I thought Hawaii was on a tear and they weren't going to be beaten. But USC had other plans. The Trojans are looking for real. One more thing I want to talk about, UCI dropping down to number 5, maybe penalized for having 4 losses in the ranking. Penalized, they use that word pretty liberally. Honestly, all these teams could be any specific spot within this top 5. But my overall point with that is I think everybody's a little bit closer than we think. You could put any of these teams in any of these top 5 spots, and you'd have a pretty compelling argument either way. And as we mentioned about the point of the schedule that we're at, I want to see a strong finish from UCLA. They've got Pepperdine, GCU, and USC to close out the season. All of those are going to be good matches, so you want to be keeping an eye on those. We've got Long Beach versus UCI at home and away on the 28th and 29th. I will see you there on Saturday if you're there, so come and say hi. And USC versus GCU on the 29th as well. It's just going to be a great slate. You're going to be wanting to check in. Follow my roundup on our website where we'll be linking where you can watch those matches if you cannot go and attend them. A lot of them happening in Southern California here. But yeah, great time for men's college volleyball. And so now I will pass it over to Clarence, who's going to have your pro news for you.
All right. We are heading into week number 11 of both League One Volleyball and Pro Volleyball Federation. Be sure to check out USA Volleyball social media on our calendar and at usavolleyball.org each week for schedule updates. With less than a month away from the League One finals, LOVB Houston continues to hold the number 2 spot. The top 2 teams will receive byes into the quarterfinals starting in April. League One Houston finished last week with a pair of wins, a 5-setter against the top team in the league, LOVB Atlanta, and a 3-1 win over in-state rival Austin. 2-time Olympic medalist Jordan Thompson continues to be a force for the Houston team. Shocker there. Big muscle there. Anyways, combined for 36 points in the pair of wins for her squad last week. Going over to the pro volleyball side of things, a bit of musical chairs happening right now in the standings. The Omaha Supernovas took back the top spot in the league from the Orlando Valkyries after a pair of wins last week from the squad from Omaha. The Supernovas pulled off a reverse sweep. That's right, a reverse sweep against the Indy Ignite, winning the 5th and final set. Ooh, man, 15-13. What a match. If you haven't watched that, be sure to rewind that and go check that one out. Reverse sweep and ending 15-13. Definitely one for the books. The Supernovas and Valkyries met to cap off the week of matches. Omaha got it done in 4 to take back the top seat from Orlando. We have Allie Batenhorst, who has the USA Volleyball, who has USA Volleyball and NTDP ties, including winning gold with the U.S. Girls Youth National Team at the U18 NORCECA Continental Championship in 2018, helped lead Omaha last week after combining for a total of 40 points in the pair of wins there. That wraps it up for our Pro League news. Now to kick it back over to Steve Vine, who's going to be introducing this episode's guest.
Yeah, and before I do, if I'm not familiar if the Omaha Supernovas have a name for their fan base, but Supernovers might be a good one. Supernovers.
I go that with the Nova Core from Marbles.
Oh, Nova Core is even better.
Remember that? You ever heard that song?
You almost had it.
Anybody watch Xenon, Girl 21st Century?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Every time they do something, they need to play that song.
Yeah. My wife and I Tessa and I recently rewatched that, like I think during COVID, so not that long ago. So
5 years ago.
Leave it if you leave it in your memories because it doesn't hold up very well. Leave it in the past. All right, moving on to today's episode. Back in December, we had the opportunity to talk to Angelle Sims, Bayou Region Commissioner, while at the AVCA Convention in Louisville, Kentucky. Angelle shares her background in volleyball, which includes being an official and holding multiple leadership roles within the sport. This is her first year as commissioner for the region, so she opens up about stepping into that role. Much more in our conversation, so let's get to it. Here's Angelle.
Angelle Sims, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. Recently appointed to the Bayou Region Commissioner role.
Yes.
Before we kind of get into that, we're at the 2024 AVCA Convention and would love to know kind of what you're doing here. Are you doing any presentations? Or are you kind of mostly observing, networking? What are you doing here?
No, so I actually am highly involved in the officials division, so I will be on that side of the house. Will not be visiting this side too much, except for right now, kind of scary side. So I don't know. I'll go back to the other side.
Mm.
We call our side the dark side. This
Yes.
is what everybody else sees as the light side.
For those listening in who aren't necessarily aware of what goes on in the officials division on this side of the conference, can you give a little bit of a breakdown of what happens?
Yeah, so actually the officials division and the coaches division, they actually both partner together to do these conventions. So we're able to take advantage of each other's kind of stock and what we have invested. And so while the officials convention is going on, so is the coaches convention. We do kind of intermingle some of those events. Not necessarily the officials coming over to this side, but we get some coaches to come over to the dark side and kind of have a season in review some types of plays, different types of rules that maybe, how do y'all feel about this, or different plays. So it's a good opportunity for the coaches and the officials to be able to interact and kind of see what the other side is thinking, because officiating in itself is
tough.
It is tough. It's tough. You're constantly you're thinking about what you could have done better. We all kind of strive to do better, especially as you get involved in the higher levels of play, because what we want to produce, and what USA Volleyball wants to produce as well on the junior side, is we want to make the sport better. We want to make it more understandable for those that are participating, not only the players but the spectators as well, because if they don't understand, it's hard for them to follow along and to continue to want to be engaged. So that's what both sides are kind of trying to do.
Yeah, so in these sessions, when it's broken down, is it any coach or any official that's in attendance can come and kind of have the conversation on breaking it down, or is it a select amount?
So we actually have different sessions that we have different levels of coaches in. So like, for instance, Creighton's coach, who was in the regionals, she'll be involved in one of the sessions, as well as some other coaches from different divisions, because officials obviously represent all divisions, versus a coach kind of being in their own specific division, specific conference. So coaches, they will definitely invite them to come whenever they want, but usually they're pretty engaged over here, learning new things and how they can engage and work their players just a little bit better.
All right. Well, I'm still waiting for my invite, so you let me know when you want to go have an argument. Conversation about
With you, it probably is an argument, but that's okay. That's okay.
All right. Thank you for that explanation there too. But something we do like to ask all of our guests is just how they were really. What was your start to volleyball? What was your path? Like, what was your first foot forward? Whether it was playing, whether it was officiating, all that stuff too. What was your introduction to volleyball?
So I started playing volleyball in middle school and high school, and actually, although 5'4" now, I was the tallest person at one point in time on my team, and then everybody else grew and I stayed kind of where I was. So
I had that same thing. So.
Yeah, it just, things happen, it wasn't in my favor.
Yep.
So I continued playing through high school, and then when I got to college, I really missed being involved, and I did not want to coach. So I went the officiating pathway. So I've actually been officiating since my sophomore year of college, and I kind of never stopped. So that's been a long time. I'm not going to say how long it was, but although I'm one of the younger commissioners, I'm still old in that sense.
That's interesting, because I feel like the natural path is to get into coaching from an athlete. What made you want to do officiating instead?
Well, I really didn't like being around. I didn't want to teach, didn't really want to be involved with that portion of it too much.
Okay.
I liked being involved with the rules, and I understood the game. And so that's the side I kind of gravitated towards. And so I was still able to participate with the kids because they were on my courts. I was able to help them with scoring clinics, help them be able to officiate if they were down reffing, and be able to encourage them. But I didn't have that level of responsibility during the week. It was more of a time commitment on the weekend, which is kind of how we sell officiating to youth. You can still be involved. You can still coach if you want, but you can also do this on the weekend, which frees you up during the week, where you can still study when you're in college or do your regular job, and then be able to do it when you want. There's flexibility there for the weekends.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an interesting perspective of it that I haven't heard yet. A pitch, I guess you could say that. And I bet still rewarding too for you to, teach young officials
for sure,
and try to get some more exposure to that side of the game for young athletes.
For sure. So we try to target young kids. Our junior players that are in the 16 to 18 age range, we try to target them because they understand the game they're playing. They have a love of the sport, and all of them don't want to be coaches.
Right.
And so we're trying to bring them in, but what kind of draws some of them out is the confrontation that happens with this from a spectator perspective. So we're trying to you're seeing a lot of regions adopting policies such as the purple card to kind of control spectator behavior. there are other things that are kind of going on. We've even seen some adaptations in other governing bodies as well of how we can kind of control that a little bit more. And so that's the major drawback that we're having. So as our officials cadre continues to age, we're going to continue to have this problem. They mentioned it at the match last night that, there's a push to recruit new officials. But as we continue to see things get so confrontational from a spectator perspective, we will continue to have these issues. So I feel like if you can bring the kids in early and you can help them understand, because they have parents and their parents were the ones screaming for the score on the sideline.
Right.
So if we can bring that aspect into it and let them understand it's not all bad. They're not necessarily, they're not, don't get too defensive. They're not necessarily specifically at you. They're in the moment. Which is not the excuse we want to give all the time, right? Sometimes you have to explain things that way and break it down a little bit better for them. But hopefully we can keep them engaged. And so that's where mentoring comes in as well, from an officiating perspective, as well from a coaching perspective, because I would assume this is hard for a junior coach as well, a young coach. You have to not deal. When I say deal, that sounds so negative. You have to communicate with parents, players, and all these people that are involved in these events. And so when you're doing that and you're a young coach, sometimes it's hard to take on all that. Plus you're doing other things. So
intimidating, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so mentoring from a coaching perspective, having a coach help mentor you and how to deal with those things is important as well.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think you bring up like a few very good points too, and kind of towards the later portion of this interview, we are gonna like really head on address the nationwide official shortage and really talk through that too. But I think the point I really want to talk about is you talk about officials and trying to retain the younger age group and the confrontation with spectators, parents, everyone in between, and that focal point of intimidation, and a lot of new rules and a lot of new policies are being implemented on the official side of things to help protect officials. Where else does this protection really need to start stemming from? And this is coming from, this is like the coach side of me, wondering if there's more that needs to be done at the club level, more that needs to be done at the admin level, say with us here at USA Volleyball in the national office. Where does the umbrella kind of fall, or should it fall?
So, I'm from the South, and a community, a village, raise a child. And so I think that aspect is you utilize that kind of phrase, that kind of mantra in everything you kind of do. And I think when you're talking about spectator interaction and things like that, it also belongs at the club level, because they're actually part of that club. They're paying dues to that club, and we should hold people accountable. And I think sometimes we are getting to a point where we're not holding people always accountable for the things that they do. There are other things to worry about. There's lots of things for coaches to worry about. They're worried about the kids. They are trying to make sure that they're understanding what's going on. They're trying to develop their coaching, trying to figure out how they're going to do their coaching and what kind of scenarios they're going to work through for practice. And having to deal with a parent isn't always easy. And so club directors and club administrators, that's where they're going to come into play as well, because you guys have been part of different organizations, different clubs that they have specific policies and they follow them. And if you don't follow them, it's questionable that if you'll stay there or not. So once we start doing those kind of things, and again, accountability kind of comes into play, right? You don't want to be too over aggressive, too over officious. But there are times when things have gone out of hand, so and USA Volleyball, they're putting heroes into place. Safe sport is required. Arbitrators at all national events and qualifiers. And you're seeing that other events, as they grow larger, are also hiring more security than is just required by the convention centers. Yeah. And that's to help with those kind of things. We've also seen states, Louisiana is one of them, that has a law in place about spectators interacting and getting aggressive with officials.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so as states start to adopt those things, and as we actually start to enforce those rules, we'll start hopefully to see things being curbed. But we've gone from we've gone. The pendulum is kind of swinging way far, and we have to bring it back to where it used to be. Just to bring things into a better, we don't want to lose spectators, and this is any sport, not just volleyball. We're actually a milder sport. We're not even a contact sport, so we have to be able to bring those things kind of back to where they need to be, a level playing ground, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, you've kind of touched on it already, but for any of our younger listeners, maybe even someone who played volleyball their entire life but is not going to play in college, your top 3 reasons why someone should become an official. You've touched on it already a little bit, but it might be something that you kind of talk about when you're training scorers and stuff too.
Yeah, so we actually just did in our region, we have an in-person referee clinic, because I want to see your face. Our referee chair wants to see their face. We want to get to know you. It doesn't happen the same way in all regions. It depends on the size of the region, and sometimes regions are just a little large, but they have different training events for their officials. So the top 3 reasons I push to the juniors is, 1, flexibility with your schedule. So when you're in college, when you're coaching, you have flexibility in that you don't have to be anywhere during the week. It's during the weekend, and you can choose the weekends you want to register for. Now, there's no guarantee that you'll work those weekends, but you're still putting your availability based on what your schedule is. The second thing is pay is increasing for everybody, but this pay is increasing as well. My region is not USA Volleyball, where you're getting guaranteed $50 a match. Yes, I did say $50 a match, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
For a junior to be able to make at a qualifier, but we're not that far off. We're a local event. We're not that far off. And then the third thing is, when I am heading into a match, and I actually do this right before the match during announcements, I say a prayer before every match. And so my prayer is not only for my officiating crew, for us to be able to get the calls right, not only for us, but for the players, for the sanctity of the game. But I also pray for the players. 1, so they understand how to work with each other, so they can learn how to work with each other, because there's really not many things you do in life that allows you to be a team. I mean, that you don't have to be a team. You have to be a team. Volleyball is teaching you how to do that. You have to communicate. I pray for the coaches, because they are the people that are going to lead they're teaching our leaders for the future. These are the citizens that are going to lead us into the next several generations. So I pray for them, and then of course I pray for everybody to be able to get home safely, right, and be healthy, no injuries. So this is what it's doing. It's bringing you together with a family that's not your family, you're not your blood family, but it's giving you resources. And as you get involved with those people, as you get involved in volleyball, they're a different family. They're just it seems small, but in reality, it's pretty large. Yeah. It's a pretty large family, pretty large force.
Mm-hmm. So you seem pretty, obviously very well connected throughout your region, and trying to touch on that before we jump in a lot of fundamentals and information about the Bayou region. Can you talk about a little bit about your journey to where you are now, how you got involved with your region originally, how you became a commissioner? What was that journey like?
So again, I started out officiating, and then as I think became more understanding of where I could be with officiating and what I could potentially do. I knew it wasn't my everyday 9-to-5 job, but it was definitely something that it was a side hustle, right? A side hustle that matured into something else. And I went from a junior national to a national, and as I started training within my region, and started meeting people outside of the area, my love for it just grew. My commissioner, John Klein, that's who my commissioner was at the time. I've since taken his place, but he's still involved in the region and still helps to mentor me and guide me in different things. And so that kind of brought me into how I could see the clubs in our area. So our region is about 5,000 to 6,000 members. So once we finish doing registration, we'll be close to 6,000 members. And I don't know what happened, but our number of clubs have just exploded in the area. Not necessarily that they're all big clubs, but we have about 90 to 100 clubs in our area. And for the state of Louisiana, that's a lot. So we have that many clubs, and we run events every weekend. And as I became more involved with event tournament directors, things like that, it all evolves. So on the officiating side, as well as being involved with USA Volleyball for their events, as well as a head official and arbitrator as well. I think I'll work a championship desk at one of the qualifiers. So just being involved and wanting to be around the game and learn as much as I can.
I know you're still kind of new in your role, but can you talk a little bit about your region? Maybe give us some numbers, amount of clubs in your region, events that you host.
So we host some weekends 3 events. All of our we're set up just a little bit differently. We're not as big as a Texas, for sure, not as big as the Lone Star region, where we require professional officials for all of our events. We think it's a good thing to kind of have them worry about the game, and then have our tournament administrators run that. So that's worked out pretty well for us. So on average, I think we probably have about 30 events in the region. Our largest event takes place usually MLK weekend, but we had a convention center booking issue, so we'll be the weekend before MLK, and that's usually a 40 court tournament. So that's
awesome.
a pretty big event for us. And then this year we also have another event that takes place in Baton Rouge. That's a large event, and it's usually a boys and a girls tournament, and that we bring in a lot of boys teams from outside the state come in to play. Well, this year we're going to separate the boys and the girls. The boys will be in New Orleans, girls will be in Baton Rouge. So we're trying to help grow boys in our area. We're hoping that it does well and takes off pretty good. But that weekend will be pretty busy too.
So you talked about numbers mainly. What are some other successes that you've seen in your region throughout the years?
So we are really trying to help the growth of boys volleyball. So we do allow the boys until a certain age to be on the female team, to play regionally within our region. Once they win that event, though, they do have to move up an age division. So as you know, one of our beach teams, our national beach teams, TKN.
Yep.
Kristen is from the New Orleans area. She is from New Orleans. She's a New Orleans homegrown person. She went to LSU, so she's from our area as well. So we're trying to grow the beach game as well, and would like to get Kristen and Taryn involved with our region a little bit more in that area.
Yeah, TKN, friends of the pod here. They've been on several times on our podcast. Great people too. But you're talking about the growth of the game from all sides, so the girls, the women's side, the boys, men's side, beach too. I guess, what do you think are the contributing factors to the growth of volleyball as a whole in the U.S.?
So obviously, the more you're able to be seen, the more people start to catch on, right? So with the amount of volleyball that's on TV, whether it's ESPN, ESPN Plus, any of the networks, or whether social media as well. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing a lot of clips being placed on social media. All those things are helping grow the game, right? And so, although I really don't know much about NIL, also seeing all those people out there a little bit sooner. You didn't see many volleyball players out there that much, right? Yeah. But now you're starting to see them a little bit more. I mean, how can you not see Madison Skinner on the hotel commercial passing the orange? I mean, how can you not see that? I mean, so those things all help. Yeah.
And you mentioned like the exposure of the game on television and big networks. Like we're here in Louisville, and the NCAA D1 Women's Volleyball Championship is going on ESPN. The semifinals were on last night. And how about those matches too?
They were great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They were great.
And great crowds there too. And I'm certain great numbers on television as well. And then the finals will be on ABC. So, I mean, that's just great exposure for the game.
A Sunday match is going to make it even better, right?
Yeah.
Allows for a lot more people to be able to see it, especially when it's on a major network, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the match last night, all the exposure we're talking about, and kind of diving back into an aspect of your region too. I mean, just the volleyball community is huge, and then it's also not at the same time. Everyone's pretty connected. Mm-hmm. But what's a good thing about the volleyball community that you've noticed, as a leader in the sport? This could be the grand scope of things overall. This could be about boys specifically or your region.
I think overall, the volleyball community is a very loving and compassionate community. I think there are different sects within volleyball, right? And different groups. Everybody has their groups. But, I mean, in my own region, I care about those people that are involved there. And so if someone is, where I see it is on the compassion side. So if someone is sick or experiencing some kind of hardship, the community immediately comes together to help. You know, there's an example I use. So one time we had an official and I didn't hear from him for a couple weeks. And I was like, wait a minute. He normally officiates a lot of our events. And I kept calling and he wasn't returning phone calls. He finally got his brother to call me back, and he's like, hey, he saw that you were calling. He's actually in the hospital. He's been in ICU for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. And
so, you know, when you have that type of community that cares about you and that checks up on you if they haven't heard from you, that's great. That's a family feeling, and that's what you want. That's when you feel nice. That's when you feel comfortable. That's where you can actually strive and do great things, right? So I think the volleyball community as a whole cares about each other. And I think we all start to help nurture and love each other in different aspects. So the compassion side is the part that I see the most.
Yeah. For any parent who might be listening, or even a young athlete who lives in Louisiana, why should they, want to get involved in volleyball, or and how can they reach out to you to start that? So
we have a website, our BayouVolleyball.org website. You can get to us through the USAV website as well. Volleyball is something that you can choose to. There are clubs that are they're playing every weekend. They're playing 3 weekends a month, and there are some that are playing 2 weekends a month and have a more limited schedule to allow for athletes to be able to play multiple sports until they determine what it is they want to do. We have clubs that are from the Lake Charles, which is the far west part of the state, to the northern part of the state, which is in the Shreveport, Monroe, different sides of the state as well. So volleyball in Louisiana used to be basically I-10 and below, and it's grown to the northern part of the state as well. So it's definitely heading north of the state. We've even had USA Volleyball has had events in Shreveport. I mean, which seemed like very far off in the beginning, why they choose Shreveport, but Shreveport is actually growing a lot. Yeah. I mean, with volleyball, and then 50 Cent is even doing some stuff in Shreveport now. So, go. I mean, everybody's starting to recognize it.
Yeah, I was at that Volleyball Nations League in Shreveport. It was awesome. Great crowd, too. Great turnout.
Yeah.
And great city, too. I enjoyed my time there.
And since then,
that's not what you said that one time. I'm joking.
Hey, the food certainly was amazing.
It's nothing like Mamu, though.
That's right. That's right. We were talking about Mamu off camera. Well, a lot of family there. Mm-hmm. This has been amazing, Angelle. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. Is there anything that we've left on the table that you'd like to share or talk about before we kind of let you go here?
So, volleyball is a sport that it's infectious. No matter what side you're on, whether you're an official, whether you're a coach, or whether you're just a spectator, it is infectious. And once you start watching it, it kind of gets in your blood. And so I encourage anyone. To me, of course, we love to have people participating in a coaching perspective and a officiating perspective, even in an administrative perspective. But as long as you're supporting it, just give it a chance. Yeah. It's going to grow on you. And eventually you're going to start going. We have some super fans that come. We'll see at different matches, different places. They have no kids that play, but they enjoy volleyball that much.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so super fans are welcomed. Anyone is welcome. So just continue to watch, to get inspired, and get involved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one last question for you. If you can change one rule in the game of volleyball, what would it be?
So honestly, I just like all our rule sets to be the same, right? So if I think it'd be easier for the spectators, and I think it'd be easier for the players as well. So once you go from high school to college, but you played USAV as well, the best rule change, honestly, I was not liking it in the beginning, but the no double on second contact is, I think it's making things a little bit better. I didn't think I was ever going to say it, but I'm saying it now.
On record, right here.
I think it was better. I think it's doing good things, and so I anticipate we'll see some changes in multiple areas regarding that soon.
Right. Well, and for our video version, Angelle brought us some cookies.
No, what? I thought you had family from Louisiana.
No.
This is pecan. These are pralines, buddy.
Pralines.
Cookies. I don't know what's going on.
Pralines.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Just embarrassed myself on TV here.
And
in
you have
4K. In 4K. Well-
I hope you show your family and Mamu this because they're gonna be.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so funny. Hey, I was up till 3 a.m. last night after that Penn State
No
match
excuse.
there.
No excuse. No excuse.
Well, this will be the sugar spike that I need this
It's
morning to
exactly
get
a
my
sugar
brain
spike.
right.
Yes.
That was funny. All right.
Angelle, thank you so much. You already mentioned the website, Bayou, to reach out to the
Volleyball.org,
Bayou
yeah.
region. Anywhere else that people can follow you or follow your region?
We're working on our other social media
There you
sites,
go.
and they'll be ready for you soon.
There you go. Stay tuned for that then. All right. Well, Angelle, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the convention. And are you staying for the finals?
I will be here through the finals
All
for
right.
sure.
Enjoy. That's going to be a great match. It's going to be a lot
It
of
will
fun.
be. It will be. Hometown crew.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Hometown
match.
crowd, yeah.
Who's your
Crowd.
who's your favorite to take it all?
Ooh.
As a referee, I'm unbiased.
Officials,
Yeah, we always root for the
officials.
officials. For
Mhm.
sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
And great officials at these matches too.
For sure.
I tried to get them to talk a little bit about it during Mountain Classic, and that's all they said. Officials, we're rooting for the officials.
That's
Okay.
exactly.
All right,
Team
I love
ref.
that.
we'll take it for now.
Yeah. We'll take that. All right. Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. We really appreciate it. It's been a great conversation.
No problem. Anytime. Not
right.
really, but yeah.
Nope. You said it.
This is the last time.
Y'all heard
This
it.
is the last time.
All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Once again, another big thank you to you, Angelle, for taking the time to chat with us. It's always good seeing you. Always seeing you in a lot more of a, I don't want to say less professional, but a lot more comedic light in between serious sessions when we're either a pro cup at an event or over at nationals, and you're making fun of me, I'm making fun of you. It's just what it is. But again, Bayou Region is very, very, very lucky to have you. I know you're stepping into a really big role too. That you have been doing a phenomenal job, and I just can't wait to see what you do for the region. And we're always here to help you how we can too. I guess they're hoping to see you in person very soon. Whether that's going to be what events next? 18 nationals, maybe open nationals, littles in Kansas City, or what am I missing? 14 through 17 in Dallas, and then we got boys happening in Minneapolis. One of those events. Also, we'll see you across one of those events. We'll probably have a follow-up interview, and for you to bring more what Stephen calls brittle. You call it that day? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, pralines, of course. Everyone knows that, Clarence.
Yeah.
I was really hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
I'll let you explain to the fan base.
Lost all of my Louisiana cred there.
All
Yeah,
street
no.
cred out the window.
Angelle, thank you so much for bringing those pralines. They were the perfect airplane snack. So hopefully see you again down the road at a nationals like Clarence mentioned, and hopefully bring some more praline treats for us. That'd be great.
Said thanks again. I think it's now time to kick it over. Wow, if I could stop stuttering and kick it back over to Steve Vine to get some info on upcoming events.
That's right. Upcoming junior events, the Mid-East Girls 18s National Qualifier, March 21st through the 23rd in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Mid-East Girls National Qualifier, Weekend 3. That's a lot of weekends. It's a lot of weekends to volleyball.
If we graded 3 weekends, man, I'm gonna. Oh my! Imagine 3 weekends with sunshine. I'd cry. I'd literally just going into an asylum. Anyways, keep going. Sorry, Stephen.
That might be in the future.
I'm just
You
sticking
keep
out
growing.
here.
You keep growing. That Weekend 3 qualifier, March 21st to the 23rd, also in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Northern Lights Girls National Qualifier, which is this the one you're going to, Clarence?
Oh wait,
Weekend 2, March 21st to the 23rd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Weekend 3 of that national qualifier will be March 28th through the 30th in Minneapolis. The Big South Girls National Qualifier, Weekend 1, March 22nd through the 24th in Atlanta, Georgia. Weekend 2 of that national qualifier will be March 28th through the 30th in Atlanta as well. The Pacific Northwest Girls 18s National Qualifier, March 22nd through the 24th in Spokane, Washington. Weekend 2 of that qualifier will also be in Spokane on March 28th through the 30th. The USAV Beach Tour Carolina Flyers Beach Regional Qualifier number 1, March 22nd in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And the USAV Beach Tour Southern California Relentless Beach National Qualifier, March 29th through the 30th in Oceanside, California. Good luck to all those competing for all upcoming events, and how to register, visit usavolleyball.org. Now over to the pro side of events. Here's Sevrin.
Yeah, guys, I feel like when we're trying to mark spring on the calendar, maybe some of us look for whether a groundhog sees his shadow. Maybe we look for, do the allergies start kicking up a little bit, change in the weather? For me, I view it for when we have a convergence of, it feels like every part of the sport happening all at once. And what I mean by that is we now can add beach events to our calendar. Super excited to tell you about some of our pro events. And before I do, just really excited also for some new partnerships just off the top of my dome. I think that we're going to be seeing Lexi Denneberg and Julia Scholes. We've got Molly Phillips and Haley Harward. I think we've got Evan Corey and Tri Bourne coming up here for our first challenges, which are going to be, let's start in Mexico with the Yucatan Challenge. That is going to be March 20th through 23rd. This is, again, all part of the Beach Pro Tour. Then after that, we've got our first Elite 16 of the year, March 26th through 30th in Quintana Roo, Mexico. And then the Beach Pro Tour Futures, March 26th through 30th in Coolangatta Beach, Australia. And of course, don't forget, as we mentioned, we also have at the top of the show that we talked about the League One and Pro Volleyball Federation matches still going on at the same time. So we've hit all of it. As we said, spring is that time in the calendar where it's all happening together. And how do you stay organized? You know what to do. Go to usavolleyball.org or our social media. Check all of the upcoming schedules. Stay up to date with the calendar page. We've got you covered with all of it.
Gonna have a 10 presentation there, sir. As always, if there's a topic you guys want us to talk about or a guest you want featured on the show, whether that's a national team athlete, a club coach, junior athlete, official, anyone in our sport, anyone else you can think of, we want to hear about it. You can email us at the USAV show at usav.org. Just let us know how we're doing or how much you love in the show. You know, we had some polls that we asked about at the top of the episode, so be sure to even email us about that and respond there too. But remember, as a reminder, new episodes drop every other week. And until then, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of the USA Volleyball Show. That's right. We're up the shirt. We are the official podcast of USA Volleyball. Till next time.
This has been the USA Volleyball Show with Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson. Produced by Curtis Ward. Our content producer is Laura Fawcett. Our marketing lead is Bree Jaycox. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to rate and review. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the USA Volleyball Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.